This is Barry Zalma speaking for Claim School Incorporated with another true crime of insurance fraud video. This one number 69. She did it. Being a good neighbor is hard work. Sometimes it's impossible. Marsha was not a good neighbor. She would borrow things from her neighbors and never return them. Most of her small kitchen appliances arrived because of such loans. Marsha had an extensive collection of CDs and long-playing records, none of which she purchased. Marsha would invite herself to lunch, but never invite her neighbors to her home for lunch. She would play her stereo at its highest volume level at all hours of the day and night. Everyone who lived within 6 houses of Marsha lost sleep because of her actions. None of her neighbors liked Marsha. Marsha kept a bull terrier she named Jaws, whom she did not allow at her house. Jaws, however, would escape the backyard weekly. Neighborhood cats, rabbits, and small dogs disappeared with some regularity. The entire neighborhood universally detested Marsha and Jaws. If Marsha ever decided to move, the neighbors would throw a going-away party to which they would not invite her. Everyone in the neighborhood was afraid of Marsha and Jaws. They tolerated her because they did not know how to remove her from the neighborhood. One summer evening, while Marsha was attending a concert, burglars entered her house. Jaws, sensing the burglars in the house, barked furiously but could do nothing since Marsha tied him up in the backyard. The neighbors ignored Jaws' barking since they were afraid to offend Marsha by complaining about the noise. Marsha lost her jewelry, 2 television sets, 2 VCRs, her stereo, and her microwave oven. The neighbors, when questioned by the police about the burglary, would only report they heard the dog barking but saw nothing. Most smiled upon learning of the burglary and whispered under their breath at their pleasure at Marsha's loss. 2 days later, Marsha's adjuster arrived and parked in front of her house. On the adjuster's car was a sticker identifying the company for which she worked. The adjuster spent an hour interviewing Marsha and considering the report to be that of a routine burglary. The adjuster asked Marsha to complete a form listing all of her personal property stolen, its purchase date, purchase price, replacement cost, and its actual cash value. Once the adjuster received the list, she expected to go through the list, arrive at an actual cash value for the items, and negotiate a quick settlement with Marsha. Marsha's neighbors had other plans. Harry and Louise, who lived next door, looked up the address of the insurance company in their telephone book. They then sat at an old Underwood manual typewriter and wrote a letter to the insurance company that said, "We are neighbors of Marsha, the person you insure. We know she reported a burglary at her house to the police and is making a claim for losses due to that burglary. The claim is a fraud. Marsha's house was not burglarized. She did not have the items she is claiming stolen. If you need further detail, please call us at 555-5555. They then signed their names. 3 other neighbors did the same. The insurance company, faced with the accusations, had no option but to report Marsha's claim to the Fraud Division of the State of California Department of Insurance as a suspected fraudulent claim, assign investigation to its Special Investigation Unit, and conduct a thorough investigation into the facts alleged. The SIU investigator interviewed Harry and Louise and all of the other neighbors. They convinced the investigator that Marsha was not a credible person. The investigator believed Marsha was a despicable person. He knew she was the one who the 3 neighbors spoken to believed to be a fraud. The insurance company retained the services of a lawyer to examine Marsha under oath and confront her with the accusations of fraud. The fraud division, faced with the compelling evidence of the statements of the neighbors, started its own investigation and presented the case to the district attorney for prosecution. Marsha, totally innocent and the victim of a crime, was dumbfounded. Her insurance company would not pay her claim and insisted on interrogating her endlessly in front of a court reporter. She could not understand the reasons for the interrogation. She explained to the lawyer for the insurance company why her claim was valid. Marsha faced the lawyer for the insurance company with her sworn testimony that her claim was legitimate. He also had available the reasonable and the unsworn testimony of the three neighbors. There seemed to be compelling evidence that the claim was a fraud and equally compelling evidence it was a valid burglary claim. The lawyer, the SIU investigator, and a court reporter went back to the home of Harry and Louise. They asked Harry and Louise to give testimony under oath to establish the fraud they had reported. Harry and Louise agreed to the sworn testimony and were ready to continue with their false accusations until the lawyer for the insurance company explained to them the penalties of perjury. Harry and Louise decided that although Marsha deserved punishment for her lack of neighborliness, to have her punished was not worth prison. They told the truth. They explained to the lawyer why they had told the SIU investigator they believed Marsha had committed fraud. On the advice of counsel, the insurance company settled Marsha's claim promptly. The fraud division was advised of the false report. Harry and Louise were not punished. No one told Marsha why it took so long to resolve her claim. If the insurance company and its lawyers took Harry and Louise's statement at face value and denied Marsha's claim, the insurer would have faced a lawsuit from Marsha for falsely accusing her of the fraud. The law of California and several other states now require that insurers have special fraud investigation units. The law requires that those specially trained investigators investigate claims of fraud to protect the insurer and the public from the crime. The SIU investigators, however, must remember they are also claims people whose duty is to pay all legitimate claims and to investigate the basis for any denial thoroughly. It was this thorough investigation, including the examination under oath of Marsha and the attempted sworn statement of the neighbors, that saved Marsha from a possible criminal prosecution and the insurer from a bad faith lawsuit. Every professional claims person understands that not all obvious frauds are fraud. Not all innocent claims are innocent. And it is the obligation of every claims person and SIU investigator to thoroughly investigate every claim with the intent to find that a claimed loss is appropriate and compensable. If fraud is proved by a thorough investigation, then the claim should be denied and the person making the claim should face the ire of the local prosecutor or the U.S. attorney. In this case, justice was done because a false report of fraud was found out, and an innocent person, regardless of how despicable a person she was not arrested, had her claim paid, and found that a thorough investigation protected her and her insurer. This video was adapted from my book, Insurance Fraud Costs Everyone, which is a supplement to my treatise in 2 volumes, Insurance Fraud 2nd Edition, all of which are available as Kindle books and paperbacks from Amazon.com. Thank you for your attention.